the series of the DNA problem. The title of this video is Proof that the Information is in the DNA. Possibly a little bit redundant to do this video, but we did not want to leave a doubt about the information being in the sequence of base pairs in the DNA. We have said that DNA builds the organism. We have said that all the information needed to build an organism is stored in the DNA. What is the proof of these two statements? How do you scientifically prove something? Well, there's this guy named Roger Bacon, and we have born there and died years, and this is obviously not what he looked like in real life, but a statue of him. He was not quite that cold in real life. But Roger Bacon, way back then, coming out of the Dark Ages and beginning of science in the Dark Ages, proposed a sequence of process that came to be the beginnings of what's called the scientific method. And his sequence was very logical, but he just said you do an observation, look at things, induction, you think about it, you come up, hypothesis is how you think all that stuff fits together, and then you look for a test by an experiment that can give you proof or disproof. And based on the results of the experiment, you have knowledge, be it proof or disproof. You have knowledge about your hypothesis. Let me clarify at this point, there are people who would like to obviously widen scientific knowledge and say this is not the only way that we have scientific knowledge. But even after all these centuries, is definitely a solid, secure way of knowing or of having knowledge, of proving something, this part of the scientific method. So whether you would want to add to that other ways of this, a wider scientific method, this is certainly a valid scientific method. He wanted to say that experimentation, in regards to experimentation, the results should be independently verified, and you should document the results in fine detail so that others might repeat the experiment. A simple example of this is a statement or something that's been proven by this type of method is that pure water, H2O, at atmospheric pressure equal to sea level at 100 degrees centigrade boils. If you don't like that idea or maybe don't agree with it, you set up an experiment, possibly because of the element of atmospheric pressure, a little more complicated than what we see right here. But the idea is you set up an experiment. What about the idea that information is in the DNA? What type of experiment has there been? More than just one or two random experiments that would show that information is in the DNA. We actually have whole industries working on this. Transgenic plants have been engineered to possess several desirable traits, such as a resistance to pests, herbicides, or harsh environmental conditions, improved product shelf life, and increased nutritional value. We have genetically modified plants. Here's a picture supposedly of some in the UK. Since the first commercial cultivation of genetically modified plants in 1996, that I wanted to get to that date. What we're saying here is this is not just experiment, let's see if it works or it doesn't work. It's actually been used to produce genetically modified plants, which you probably are eating or have eaten some of them since 1996. So we're talking quite a few years here, 15 years or so that this has been done even on a commercial basis. They modify genetically that sequence of base pairs in DNA, and some of the things that they've managed to do is they've been modified to be tolerant to the herbicides glufosinate and glyphosate. They've been modified to be resistant to virus damage, as in the ring spot virus resistant genetically modified papaya grown in Hawaii. They've even been modified to produce the Bt toxin, which is an insecticide that is documented as non-toxic to mammals. So here they've gone in and modified in moving around genes and so forth from one DNA to another to do all these different things. So it's something that is done just kind of nonchalant at this point. It's no, that's why I say maybe this video is redundant. But the fact is that people move the DNA sequences, they move the a section of DNA base pairs and change these characteristics sometimes from one organism to another, sometimes within an organism, either maybe inactivating something or activating something. There's all kinds of options. We even have, as a result of this wonderful engineering, a glowfish, which is the first genetically modified animal to be sold as a pet. And I have the picture here. I don't know if you turn the lights out if they actually glow, but they're called glowfish. And that was made by changing, moving around the base pairs in the DNA. And as we've said, the DNA determines the design. And so that's what we have here, just proof that that statement is true. All this work in genetic or DNA modification proves that DNA determines the design of organisms. So we will proceed with our analysis. And again, we've broken this up, as you can see, into different videos. And if you have a problem with one point, then we can go in and discuss one video. But we'll proceed with our analysis based on this established fact. Pretty simple, but just the fact that it's been experimentally proven. Other people have been able to repeat the experiments and show that moving information in the DNA around changes the way an organism is built. Please continue to follow the videos, and we will get to make some important points based on these basic facts that we're dealing with.